Hey, boys and girls, it's Chris and Mike Show. I'm Chris, he's Mike. What?
What's up?
What's up? That was a little weird. So we're going to talk about the NFL draft today because it's draft weekend and the National Football League, also known as Not For Long, and National Flag League, because that's where we're going, right? So the fun topic as of Friday, we should probably drop this one Sunday, just thinking. The fun thing as of Friday at 9 a.m., Shadir Sanders, who was supposed to be, the number one pick overall, has continued plummeting his stock down a downward spiral and has now entered into the second day of drafting, not yet picked.
Really?
And I've seen some things online that he actually created like his own draft room that just is stupid. Number one, he has these symbols calling them legendary with all these caps, hats, and then he has something else that has the $ squared. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I read some stuff from people's comments that he plays like shit. Like he's not what people think he is, and that's why he's completely past the first round without being picked.
Well, so there's two things.
Yep.
I really only care about watching the game, so I don't follow that closely, right?
Right.
But one thing I do that you don't do is I watch college football.
Okay.
So I've seen him play.
Yeah.
A ton.
And?
There
you go. That answers the question.
No, he's good at the college level, and a lot of guys are good at the college level, but his skill set probably doesn't translate to the NFL that well.
Yeah.
Because he would be like who's that? Justin Fields, the Bears drafted, and then he went to the Steelers, right?
Yeah.
That style of quarterback only lasts so long because you're scrambling against guys who are 350 pounds, right?
Right. Yep.
So I think that's more the direction that the owners are seeing his skills is that's been tried and tried and tried again, and it hasn't worked. So I'm really not surprised that he's not getting drafted, I guess is my point.
Yeah. All right, we have a weird thing saying, I don't know, something about my, maybe that's because I'm trying to open up. I just want a list. Like, I don't want videos. I don't understand why. I don't want to see all the fucking picks. I just want to see a list of who people picked, man. I don't know why that's so fucking hard. Like, the internet has gone so, I get videos and I get, images and shit like that. But, I just want to see a list. I just want to see a list of people that were drafted so we can talk about the ones that I know. Okay, there it is. Why was that so fucking hard?
Find it.
I did. So Cam Ward was picked up by the Titans. He is quarterback. He was first round pick overall. So since you watch college football, what do you know about Cam Ward?
He's a stud.
Okay. That's it. That's all he got.
Oh, yeah. He's going to do well in the NFL for sure.
Oh, okay.
Miami put up points like there was no tomorrow. He's definitely.
Okay, that's who he played for, Miami.
Yeah, he was a Miami Hurricane.
Yeah, so he was at the top of the passing on a generational a generational talent like Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter was drafted number 2, and he's going to the Jaguars. Now he actually played. Yeah.
Now that dude played with Shadir Sanders.
Right. I saw that on a highlight. But the cool thing about him,
I think where Sanders thinks that he thinks he is Travis Hunter.
Well,
Travis Hunter's amazing.
Well, and where I was going to lead with that was, according to what I saw, he's the first football player that drafted that plays both sides of the ball in forever.
Correct.
Because he's a wide receiver and a quarterback.
Most snaps of most sides of the ball.
Right. So that would be cool if he actually came to the pros, went to the Jaguars, and actually played wide receiver and cornerback. Because what's the biggest thing that cornerbacks are missing typically is the hands. That's why they're cornerbacks. They can cover like a fucker. They can run the routes and shit and shadow and Teflon attach themselves to the receiver, but they typically can't catch the ball. When he was drafted, because we were making dinner, and so I had it on the background. So when he was, as they would draft players, since you don't really watch the draft, I don't either, but as you draft players, they show their highlights and shit. And there's a lot of hype and fluff to it. Like, oh, they're walking down this big tunnel, and then they go up to this big camera, put on their hat, and right. Here I am. And then the fucking stupid correspondence for ESPN, it's at Lambeau Field. They're on this big stage in Lambeau Field. This idiot woman, I didn't see the Cam Ward interview, but Travis Hunter and a few after that, she goes up to Travis Hunter, "What's making you so happy today?" Really?
I just got a big fat check.
Right? Like, fucking serious? What's making you happy today? Oh, my mom made me a shepherd's pie for dinner, and I'm excited to eat that, Maria. Like, ask a fucking question, man.
I'm having Campbell's chunky soup. What do you think?
Right? She did the same shit to Abdul Carter, who the Giants picked, who's an edge rusher from Penn State, which that's wearing my respect to the Giants, even though I don't think that Joel Schoen asked his kids who to draft this year, and if he did behind closed doors, so he's not embarrassed again. But she asked Abdul, oh, you're a Pennsylvania native, and now you're going to play for the Giants. What do you think about that? What do you think he's going to say? I'm fucking pissed off. I wanted to play for the Eagles. This is fucking ridiculous. Meanwhile, he's got probably $100,000 chain around his neck and diamond caps on all his teeth. That's what we talked about before. That's where I have a problem with paying college athletes millions and millions of dollars. Shadir Sanders made so much money, he bought his dad a house. Right. So, and I think the reason why Shadir Sanders isn't picked up yet or wasn't drafted in the first round is because what's Deion known for? Aside from his athleticism, because he was one of the best two-sport athletes ever to play the game next to Bo Jackson, right? Aside from that, what's he known for? His fucking hype. Like
he brings a lot of attention.
Right. So
specifically him is the point.
Exactly. Yeah. So Deion hasn't done shit as a coach in the in college football, right? He hasn't. He's getting paid, like Jordan says. People are being paid on potential, not what they've accomplished.
Well, I would disagree with that.
Okay, explain why.
How much did you know? Well, you probably knew more because you live in Arizona. Well, you don't because you don't watch it. But people that live in that part of the country would have known about Colorado before Deion Sanders. Nobody on this side of the Mississippi even gave a fuck about college or Colorado football before he got there. So he brought revenue. He brought attention to the university.
Okay.
And so far, it's all been positive,
Right, but he hasn't won.
Well, you got to give him time, man.
Well, how long's he been doing it? 3 years? Because he just got another fucking crazy contract extension. Like, he needs money.
I think this is his third season coming up.
Okay.
But he took a losing football team and he made him a winning football team.
Did they have winning records?
I'm pretty sure. Look up their 2024. I'm almost positive they had a winning record.
Buffalo's football.
Because they went to a bowl game.
That doesn't mean shit. You can be 8-8 and go to a bowl game.
Well, that's true. I think they went to a respectable bowl game is what I was going to say.
Okay. Well, that's come on, stupid fucking thing, man. I really sometimes I don't like the Google machine. Okay, there we go. The sixth search is their record under Sanders. Of course, you got to drop down. So Deion Sanders' career record 2 years. So he's coming on to his third year, 13-12. So he's one game over 500.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
He still got a winning record,
right? But
they were a losing football team before that,
right? But that's what I'm saying. You're paying somebody. You're paying somebody on. You really. How do I want to phrase this?
Part of me agrees with what you're saying.
From what you just mentioned, he brought relevance to Colorado. Cool, but you're paying him on relevance, not paying him on production.
the university doesn't care how they get their money.
This is true. I'll give you that. So
that's my point.
Yeah.
Right. In the university's eyes, it's been an overwhelming success.
Yeah, it's true because if it's pumping more money into the college itself for recognition and merchandise and all that kind of shit, and people want to go there and play, I get that, and I get people want to play for Dion. Dion is a hell of an athlete. I will not take that away from him. I don't know the man. He seems like a genuine human outside of football. Inside of football, he's the arrogant motherfucker that people love to hate. But we don't know him as a human himself. But, again, all the time he spent on ESPN commentating shit, he was real with everything he talked about. He wouldn't sugarcoat shit. He didn't placate anybody. He didn't fucking kiss anybody's ass, which I liked. I like that as a commentator, and, just call it what it is, Where Madden, I think I struggle with Madden, love John Madden, but he had his favorites when he was, like Brett Favre could do no wrong in Madden's eyes. Like,
no
nothing.
Question.
Now, speaking
he would
of
get
Favre,
people stuck in his head, and then that was it. They were the best no matter what they did. Yeah,
now,
I agree with that.
Now, speaking of Favre.
But I love John Madden.
I do too. Speaking of Favre, there is a full-blown documentary dropping about all his shit. I watched a little thing not too long ago. That dude has done some questionable shit off the field.
Yes.
So this documentary is going to be fucking interesting. Really interesting. Will Campbell, the Patriots picked him number 4. Now this dude is 6'3", 337 pounds. He is an offensive tackle, and one of the highlights for him, shit you not, he was blocking. He was blocking somebody. So he must have been on defense or something. He was blocking. He ran down a running back from behind.
Damn.
6'3", 337 pounds. Ran down
That's
a
what
running
I'm
back
saying.
from behind.
That's why you can't be a running quarterback.
Right, and tackled him. I mean, the dude I was like, fuck me. So the CBS Sports gives Cam Ward's the Tennessee's draft a B-. They give Travis Hunter A+, because I agree. Travis Hunter.
Oh yeah, no question.
He's gonna help elevate. What the fuck is the quarterback's name? Trevor Lawrence's game.
Yes.
Having that kind of weapon, absolutely.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Shockingly
enough, they gave the Giants an A for Abdul Carter. Will Campbell, who I just referenced, picked by number 4, the Patriots, got a B-. I wouldn't be excited to go to the Patriots. Belichick's not there, Brady's not there. You're stepping into a legacy that is going downwards. It's going backwards now. Mason Graham, I don't know anything about this guy, but he's a defensive lineman from Michigan. They got a C+ for him. But he's big. He's a big dude, obviously, a defensive lineman. The Raiders picked Ashton Gentry, a running back, as a B+. The Jets picked up an offensive tackle out of Mizzou, Armand.
I saw some Raiders fans on my Facebook that were super happy about that.
Oh,
I don't know that. I didn't watch that particular player, but they were happy about it.
Yeah. Armand Mabou, offensive tackle out of Mizzou, B- for the Jets. I like the fact that some people are actually drafting. There's a lot of offensive linemen and defensive linemen in the draft. I've always believed, and I think you will agree, you got to build your team around the line. If you can't protect your quarterback, what the fuck are you doing? If you can't rush the other quarterback, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
We both have horrible years of experience of watching our teams not give their quarterback any time to throw the ball, and you're absolutely right. If the guy's only got less than a second to throw the ball every time, it's pretty hard to run a play.
And the average time to get the ball and release it in the NFL is like 2.3 seconds. So which is just insanely fast, man. I can't imagine how fast the game really is if you're sitting on the actual sideline during a game and 2.3 seconds.
Less than 3 Mississippis.
Yeah, right?
That play's got to be done.
Yeah.
And in motion.
And that's why you got to have the breakaway speed for running backs and wide receivers coming off the line. You got to run those routes. You got to stick and move. There's so many elements to go into being a professional football player that, it's like you said, that's probably why Shadur Sanders is not going to translate well in the NFL. The Cardinals picked up a guy named Taria McMillan. He's a wide receiver. I'm sorry, not the Cardinals, the Panthers. He's a wide receiver from Arizona. Somebody who's commenting says he didn't love that pick. They needed help for Bryce Young, but thought Matthew Golden was a better option. That's a C grade. Kevin Banks, an offensive tackle, picked up by the Saints, which is good.
Well, back to the Cardinals. They're another team that needs a quarterback.
The Cardinals are down number 16. They picked up Walter Nolan, a defensive lineman from Mississippi. The Cardinals are stupid, man. They're gonna ride or die with Kyler Murray, which being in Arizona, I hear all the stuff. I see all the stuff. It's amazing how, like, the Giants, like Joe, right? Joe hates Eli. I love Eli.
Yeah.
Like, so there's that love-hate thing, right? You're going to love the quarterback and you hate him. The Giants, or not the Giants.
I don't understand why he hates
I don't
Eli,
either.
but
I mean, it is what it is, you know.
Yeah, everybody's got their opinion. It's all good.
He is a little bit, Eli, when he played, he was a little bit of all shucks, woe was me, Mayberry, you know. I don't remember ever seeing Eli stick out his bottom lip. You know, what I recall from Eli, he threw an interception. He went out the next drive, took him down the field, and won the game. I mean, he wasn't in it for stats. Maybe that's why Joe doesn't like him. Joe, is that why? He wasn't a stat player. He wanted to play the game to win the game and win the Super Bowls. You know, and he got to 2, which is more than a lot of people can say. I haven't won a Super Bowl. Joe, how about you?
No.
I didn't think so, Joe.
I haven't won a Super Bowl. I was speaking for myself. I don't know about Joe. He might have won a Super Bowl.
He might have won a Super Bowl and didn't tell us, you know.
He could be Batman.
I saw something in '74. The Saints drafted somebody who was a serial killer, and I got to look that back up. Yeah, I got to look that back up.
That's awesome.
When we get through this the initial day one. The Saints did grab an offensive tackle. Cleveland. I'm sorry, the Bears. The Bears. You guys drafted Colston Loveland, a tight end out of Michigan.
Michigan, yeah.
You got an A. You got an A.
He's an amazing tight end.
Yeah. He said he was the best. He was the best he was the best pass catcher of the tight ends. He will be fit perfectly into Ben Johnson's offense. What if Ben Johnson gets fired?
Well, my question would be, what are they going to do with Cole Kmet? Because he's also a stud.
How many years is Cole Kmet in?
Oh, I don't know. Probably less than 5, but he's a veteran at this point.
Well, there's your answer. They're going to use Cole to mentor your dude, your Colton. Is that his name? Colton?
Yeah.
Colston. And
Colston.
Right. And you're gonna well, you could also do double tight end sets too. You can do trips and have 2 tight ends, right? There's nothing wrong with having 2 tight ends. You can have a tight end as a blocker.
True.
And a tight end as a pass catcher. It's, you know, I miss the days like when the Giants, when they called it Thunder and Lightning, when they had Tiki Barber and Ron Dane, or was that, no, it was not those 2. Sorry, my bad. Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw coming out of the backfield. It pissed me off that Coughlin didn't call that more, because who do you fucking cover?
Right.
You know, if you have 2 wide receivers and 2 running backs in the backfield, what the fuck? Like, that's insanity. Those were both really good running backs in their prime, when they were in their prime, I should say. The Niners picked up Mikael Williams, an edge rusher. That was a B rated. Good old Dallas Cowboys, who have not been to the playoffs. How do I phrase it? I saw this is pretty funny. There's been 3 popes that have lived and died since the last time the Cowboys made the playoffs. Soon to be 4.
That's crazy.
Suck on that, Dallas.
That's a crazy statistic.
Right? They picked up Tyler Booker, an inside offensive lineman. And this guy's like, that's my favorite player, but he gave them a B-, so that's kind of weird. Miami Dolphins picked up a interior defensive lineman, Kenneth Grant from Michigan. The Indianapolis Colts grabbed the second player from Penn State, a Tyler Warren, a tight end. That was a B-rated draft pick. Jalen Walker, linebacker, was picked up by the Falcons. And then now we're at the Cardinals, the 16th pick, Walter Nolan, defensive lineman out of Mississippi. Mississippi. Shamar Stewart, an edge rusher from Texas A&M. He's a raw talent, but he lacks football instincts. So why is he going in the first round? If you're raw, but you lack football instincts, what the fuck are you doing as the 17th pick overall? That doesn't seem right to me.
It seems like when you finally get to the NFL, that would be the wrong time to start trying to teach instincts.
Thank you. Because you're just wasting time and money, right?
Yeah, let me back that up. Can you even teach instincts?
No, you can't. You're born.
I'm like that didn't make sense.
You're born with it or born without it. There's no, you can teach somebody how to play a position, but I agree with you. If you're going into the NFL, you're drafted 17th overall, you think you would already have that mindset and those special skill sets.
Well, that's why I had to back that up, because I say it all the time as a guitar teacher. I can teach you to play a guitar, but I can't teach you to play it like me or Eddie Van Halen or Jimmy Page. I can only teach you to the fundamentals, and I guarantee you'll learn how to play, but the feel and the the instinct, that's just
the emotion. Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it's just like with singers. You can. I had voice lessons. I had professional voice lessons. You can, and that was just to make sure I was taking care of my craft. But
yeah, it teaches you to take care of your instrument, because your instrument is your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can sing opera shit. I'm not like Jeff Tate, but some of the stuff that I learned when I was doing vocal training and stuff was from Les Miserables, and I can sing that shit. Do I want to? No. I was in musicals where, Little Mary Sunshine was.
How dare you?
I was a musical. I was in, and you got to hand it to Little Mary Sunshine.
Nobody just breaks out in song in regular life, man. That drives me crazy.
Dude, I do. Yesterday.
Well, wait, hold on. I take that back. I'm wrong again. You break out in song all the time.
Well, so the other day, I was driving, and Bruce Hornsby popped up on Sirius. I love Bruce Hornsby.
Me too.
I forgot how much I love Bruce Hornsby, right? So I went down the rabbit hole with iTunes and found a bunch of stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of his stuff is, he wrote a lot of songs. Like, I didn't realize he wrote End of the Innocents. Don Henley's song, I knew Hornsby played on it, but on an album that you can buy on iTunes with the Hornsby, it talks about his radio hits. So I opened that up. I'm like, no shit. And okay, so he doesn't work. Having heard the Don Henley version of The End of the Innocents and then listening to Hornsby sing it, it doesn't work.
No, not at all. I've heard his version too.
Yeah, but just an amazing songwriter, because the first album that he came out with, it had Mandolin Rain and Every Little Kiss and On the Western Skyline. Great album, just really front it back. One of those things that I wouldn't listen to it. I guess I would, because I listened to it the whole time I was mowing the lawn.
Okay, now let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's a great example. How do you write a song like Mandolin Rain, capture that feel and emotion that we just talked about so perfectly that it could make somebody cry, goosebumps, whatever, whatever emotion that causes in you as an artist, and then never recapture that same feel again? I just have always been fascinated at how that's... I mean, he had a few songs that were close to that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. The album itself, and this is how I'm going to answer your question. The album itself, I'm going to pull it up. Come on. The album itself, as I said that for the third time, the album itself.
But then again, you said it earlier, he's also a great songwriter, and Don Henley captured the emotion that he wrote in The End of the Innocents, right?
Right, which is similar to you and I, yin yang, right? I can put lyrics in front of you without
I can't write lyrics.
Content. Right.
Yes.
But you can interpret the concept of what I'm writing perfectly, because you've never not done that. Everything I've ever sent you over the years, and even in Nemesis, even though you already had songs structured, it just fits. So Bruce Hornsby, it's The Way It Is his debut album, okay? So On the Western Skyline, really good song, upbeat,
I'm like
catchy.
a Bush League Bernie Taupin.
Oh, that's awesome. So On the Western Skyline, good song, not a hit. Every Little Kiss was a hit, upbeat, Mandolin, huge. Mandolin's what made this album a success. And then The Way It Is. The Way It Is and Mandolin Rain were two songs on this album that took it to the next level. The Way It Is a very cool lyrical song about, well, the way it is. Like, hey, little man, or hey, little boy, you can't go where the others go because you don't look like they do.
Oh
Brilliant.
shit! You just proved me. You just proved me wrong. He captured that same emotion in that song too.
He
That's
did.
a great fucking song.
Fucking lyrically, that's an amazing song.
The music and the feel is too. It sucks you right in. I take that back. He did it again right there.
He did it twice on one album, and then everything else was songs that he wrote that he couldn't sing to the level that needed to be sung. Because then you have The Long Race, which is it's a catchy tune. Like I'm driving my John Deere, doing my lawn, and I find myself singing. So he has that innate ability on this album that they're catchy enough, the hook's there, the melody's simple enough that you can pick it up and just start singing.
Which is why that album sold so many copies.
Right. So because really there's not a really bad song on there. He just had the 2 hits. So Little Man, which you're going to love this. Little Man has started, he randomly breaks out in song. He randomly breaks out. Like today, his song was, he had the TIE Fighter, not the TIE Fighter, the Luke Skywalker's Star Wars ship. What's that one?
Oh, the X-Wing fighter.
So he had the X-Wing fighter with Boba Fett in it. Jesse, the drummer from Hollow Council, he gave me, for Jake, mind you, I don't know, fucking a dishwasher box full of Star Wars toys, right? And I've kept them.
Damn.
I know. And I've kept them. So now Little Man plays with them. So we're leaving the house to go to school day. He's flying it, and I forget the song. I recorded it because he just breaks out. That's my new song, pop. I'm like, see, he's got it. He's got it. But
he's got it, and it's cool. Like, it makes me smile on the inside that he was exposed. You don't understand how lucky you are to be born into a certain situation. Right. So he grew up listening to music with you all the time.
Right, because he had
his appreciation for music as a child and a young man, as an adult, it's just going to continue to bloom because what you are exposed to as a young child, you carry with you more than anything else in your life, whether you know it or not.
Yeah, because when he was little, when he finally started walking, I got him this little baby boom that literally 2 inches tall and round, and I would put music on it, and every morning we would play music. And it was everything. There was just, how I am with music. So it's just a wide variety of music. So put that in with Skylar, and she's into all the weird stuff. And so is June. Like June's Deftones all the way to Rammstein, so Little Man will be back in their car banging his head to Rammstein. I'm like, Eminem and stuff. And we're like, okay, bring it down a notch, Sky, because we don't need him going to school and, tell the teacher, shake that ass for me. Shake that ass for me. Because that wouldn't work.
Yesterday, Pretty Young Thing from Michael Jackson played.
Yeah.
And the very next song that started was South of Heaven by Slayer.
Oh, see, there you go. That's awesome.
I was like, how many people's playlists go from Michael Jackson to Slayer?
Right? Yeah. Now, and
I
that was
hope
your
a lot.
playlist? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
There's like 20,000 songs in that folder.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah, it's because you Spotify, right?
Yeah.
Spotify.
I know. I'm one of them.
I don't. No, it's all good. Back to the draft here. The Seahawks picked Gray, Grey Zabel, tackle out of North Dakota, Alaska, NDAKST, whatever the fuck that is. Ohio State grabbed Emeka Egbuka, because Mike Evans is getting old. Chris Godwin's coming off an injury, so he's a good, solid wide receiver for them.
Where'd he come from?
Ohio State.
Okay, that's why that name sounded familiar.
Well, and Ohio State breeds. It's surprising that's the first Ohio State player on this list so far.
Well, obviously, I watch a lot of Big Ten, so that's why I was like, that name sounds familiar.
Yeah. Jahdae Barron, a cornerback from Texas, picked up by the Broncos. The Steelers, which this was surprising, they picked up a defensive lineman out of Oregon. You think because their offensive lineman's old. You think they would start buffing that up because they have Watt and they have whoever else is fuck on the other end of other side of Watt is. They have defense. I don't get why they grabbed the defensive lineman in the first round, mind you, because you're paying for the first round.
Oh yeah,
recognition. Chargers grabbed a running back, O'Marion Hampton, out of University of North Carolina, Michael Jordan's alma mater. Wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, Matthew Golden, out of Texas, another Texas boy.
Yeah, they had a good team.
Here's your second Ohio State player picked, number 24th overall, Donovan Jackson.
Oh, he's a stud.
Okay. And then, surprising, the Giants traded with the Rams two picks this year and a third pick next year for Jackson Dart. And this guy gave him a C-, which, like, did we need a quarterback? No, because to me, you have Jameis Winston. I want Jameis Winston to start. I think Russell Wilson's a bust now.
I think that's been proven again and again.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you. So
I'm not going to argue with you on that at all.
So my thing is Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, and Tommy DeVito. That's the depth chart, and then they got the fourth guy over there. But now you picked up Jackson Dart. So you got 5 fucking quarterbacks. I wouldn't have picked Jackson Dart. Because to me, this year's buying your time to go after Arch Manning, because I really think they're going to go after Arch Manning because it's a Manning legacy thing, right? You had Eli took the franchise to a whole new level. Peyton did what he did, and now you bring in Arch, who's got the Manning bloodline. It's like a fucking, a stallion, right? You want the solid bloodline for a stallion to take you to the promised land. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But I don't think that Joe Schoen asked his kids who to draft again, because I wasn't like really Jackson Dart. And they're like, oh, he's throwing darts. Yeah, okay. Remember Danny Dimes, motherfuckers? So I don't get that at all. I think there was other options that they could have done, but that's why we don't get paid. We don't get paid the big bucks to fuck up our drafts. So we'll see. I mean, some people are excited about it. Some of the Giants fans I know on Facebook were excited about it.
Well, the one thing that you have to own up to if you're in their shoes is all the criticism they're taking is warranted, because when's the last time you guys have put a winning team on the field, right?
Exactly. And this is Dable's 4th year, or coming off his 4th year.
That dude doesn't impress me.
No, I don't. And me either. He has lots of rings and shit. He's got lots of.
But as a role player, right?
Yes, he was an offensive coordinator. He was a quarterback's coach.
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah,
and some guys just don't translate to being the guy that's in charge.
Right,
they can't handle the pressure.
Yeah, just stay in your lane, man. You were good at that. Like Steve Pagnola, right? He left the Giants, albeit, to try head coaching because he deserved it. He took the Giants to 2. He went with the Giants to 2 Super Bowls, and his defense had a major impact on the Patriots both times. So he was rightfully so ready to try that level of coaching, right? And then he failed. And what's he done since? Defensive coordinator where? Kansas City. What's Kansas City done? Oh, yeah. So stay in your lane. You can still make the money. You can still have the accolades. He's the only coordinator in all of NFL history to have 6 rings with 2 different teams. That's insane.
That is insane.
But that's the thing. Stay in your lane. Right?
Or,
He's in his lane.
I agree with what you said. There's certain guys that they're so good at their role playing that they deserve a shot at the next level. But I would say you get a very mild, small 3-year contract, and if you can't put a winning team on the field, and I'm not saying you got to win the Super Bowl,
right?
But if you can't put a winning record together and make the playoffs in 3 years, you're done.
I agree. I don't think it's a million. I don't think it's a fucking like Daniel Jones contract where you're getting insane amounts of millions of dollars. Because again, I'm gonna hit. I love this thing from Jordan, so I'm gonna use it all the time. You're getting paid on your potential, not your accomplishments.
Correct.
When you're a head coach in the NFL, you're not a head coach before, typically, and you get these massive contracts. Kellen Moore just got a fucking insane contract for the Cowboys, or was the Saints. Dude was a backup quarterback his entire career. Then he was an offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. And what did the Cowboys do?
Nothing.
Exactly. I just don't get that. I don't like you and I could go be coaches because we have no experience. It seems,
I think we're overqualified.
Maybe we should get an agent and start pitching ourselves in the hat next year. If teams get fired, we'll just step in and hey,
I can make mistakes on that level, paying a guy the record quarterback contract, and then that's a bust as well.
Right. Now, see,
I can make that mistake.
Right. And see where it worked. Like, I never would have pictured John Lynch being a general manager after watching him play football, right? But he turned the Niners around.
Yeah, some people haven't. It's no different than there's some of the best musicians in the world are producers, sound men.
Right.
They just chose to be in the behind the scenes role because either they loved that more or they didn't want to be in the spotlight, right?
Or they didn't have what it took to get over the hump to be in the spot, like Bob Rock. Bob Rock, hell of a producer, right?
And he's an incredible musician in his own right, too.
Exactly. But he never broke through that barrier as an artist. So what are you going to do? You're going to leave the industry that you love, or you're going to find a niche inside of it.
Right.
So that was pretty smart what I just said right there.
That was, yeah. Give yourself a virtual pat on the back.
And I give myself a hug, too. So yeah, that's what the Giants did, Jackson Dart. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think that was a good move.
I don't either. I think it's a waste of time and money. I don't. You spend, what did they give Wilson? $25 million of what a stupid fucking amounts of money, and gave Jameis Winston $4 million a year. They should have gave them both $4 million a year and said put up or
let
shut
them duke it out.
Exactly.
I like that idea better.
Yes, because they're both at points in their careers where I really think Russell Wilson's on the downslope. Jameis Winston, he can go either way. He brings energy. He brings excitement. He's very athletic. He can move the ball. He can run, scramble and shit like that. He's a big body. He's not a little punk-ass kid like Russell Wilson is. He can see over the offensive lineman where Russell can't. He's got to find his little holes like Drew Brees had to do and Kyler Murray has to do. Short quarterbacks don't last. There's a reason why, boys and girls. Fucking the offensive linemen that have been drafted here, let's just scroll back up because this is insane. The one was 6'3", offensive tackle, 6'3". I'm sorry. Will Campbell, 6'6", 319 pounds.
I was going to say, yeah.
If you have a 6 foot tall quarterback and your offensive lineman averages 6'5", there's a problem.
Yes.
Drew Brees, there's a problem. Russell
and he
Wilson,
outweighs you by 120 pounds.
Kyler Murray, there's a problem. Exactly. So, okay, that's that one guy. Let's see who else we got here.
Or 180 pounds, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. So the defensive lineman, so you got a guy coming after you that's 6'3", 296 pounds. So even the defensive lineman coming after you is taller than you are.
And 300 pounds.
Right. Another offensive tackle, 6'4", 332 pounds. These are all another offensive tackle, 6'5", 315. A tight end, fuck me, 6'6", 248. Fuck me. Your tight end is fucking 6'6", 248 that you guys picked up.
That's what fascinates me.
Holy shit.
So if you went back to let's say, if you looked up the average weight for an offensive lineman in the 1985 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I bet that 1985 Super Bowl average offensive lineman weight is the same as that tight end that you just said. That's how much bigger people have become. That fascinates me more than anything is how big these people are.
So the average
they're like fucking superheroes.
Here it is. The average lineman in 1985, offensive lineman in 1985 was 6'4", 272.
Almost the same as that tight end.
The height's there, right? But the weight is the difference. And the reason the weight's the difference is because look how far training has come and supplements have come. Nutrition's come. Right. And then you have all these breakthroughs with different type of supplements and shit. So that's the thing. So let's see the average lineman size now is 6 feet 4.5 inches and 310 pounds.
So what is that? 40-some pounds?
44 to 40, and they're faster. They're strong. Obviously, they're stronger.
But they're faster. That's the fascinating part.
That's the thing. It's HGH off-season training program, steroids and shit.
And that 270-some pound in 1985
was big.
Was fat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was more fat than muscle is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Remember the big guts they had where they stuck out underneath their shirt and shit?
Yeah, because big old beer bellies and shit.
Now these guys' jersey doesn't fit like around their arms.
Nope.
Because they're just fucking massive.
Yep, they are massive.
I think the average soldier in the Revolutionary War, their average weight for a man was like 135 pounds, 138 pounds.
They were like 5'3".
They were all malnourished.
Right. They were short, too. Another lineman, 6'4", 315. Okay, so Jackson Dart's 6'2", 225. So he's got the height, right? He's that's a good playing weight for a quarterback. Edge rusher for Tennessee, 6'5", 245. So that dude's gonna fucking fly.
I'll tell you who's going to be dangerous now that Harbaugh's had some time with the Chargers is Herbert.
Yeah,
because he is big and he's
big.
mobile.
Yep.
But he can also throw the ball.
Yeah. Here's another defensive lineman, the one from Ohio State, 6'3", 334. Offensive tackle, 6'5", 311. A cornerback, 5'11", 183. So that's me, basically. Maxwell Harrison and I. He's from UK. I don't know who that is. And then the
Kansas,
Kentucky. Oh yeah, University of Kansas. Okay, or Kentucky, one of the two. And then
KU is Kansas, so yeah, it would be the University of Kentucky.
Okay. And then those three people from Ohio State got picked in the first round. The final one was an offensive tackle who was 6'5", 317. Josh Simmons to Kansas City. That was an A+ thing. So that's the first round of the NFL draft, boys and girls.
Yeah, so that's what I got out of that was human beings are massive now.
They're fucking insanely massive. So average, this will be interesting. Average size of a NFL quarterback.
That's always the example I use when people deny evolution. I'm like, we may not have come from a single cell organism.
No,
we can debate that. But people are evolving. They're getting bigger.
I want the average size of a quarterback, man. Why did you not give it to me? Average size of a quarterback in NFL history is 6'3" tall. That's the average.
I would have guessed 6'2", so I was close.
6'3", and then you have variables, bigger, smaller, that kind of thing. But the average size of an NFL quarterback is 6'3". Average height of players in 2025 by position. That'll be interesting. Oh shit, that's funny. So the picture has who the fuck is that? It's funny they have some big ass dude that's next to Kyler Murray. He's 6'9", and Kyler Murray comes in at like 5'9".
That's why I think the Cardinals need a quarterback.
Yeah, tied for the title of the shortest QB in the NFL, Kyler Murray and Bryce Young both stand at 5 feet 10 and 1/8 inch. So you're 5'10". Like why would you pay somebody who's 5'10"?
My point exactly.
I just don't.
I agree with you on this. We agree 1,000,000%. I don't understand. Like those guys, whatever this crazy league they have on now during baseball season, they would be great in that league.
Yeah,
but the guys that are on the other side of the ball are just so much bigger than them.
Yeah.
The fucking guys can't even see over the line once the ball's snapped.
So the average NFL tight end now is 6 feet 4 inches, and
that's my dad's height.
That's 1 3/4 inches taller than 2 seasons ago,
which is what he played in high school too. So that makes sense.
The average height of a wide receiver is 6 feet. That's crazy. 6 feet wide receiver. Average height of a wide receiver is my height. The average height of a running back is 5 feet 10 inches, 10.5 inches. So Kyler Murray should be a running back. He could be a running back because he's small enough and he's quick enough. And
you got to have that low center of gravity.
And he'd probably have a better impact as a running back who has the ability to throw every now and then. It's tricky plays. So the average size of an NFL quarterback now is 6 feet 2.7 inches. That's up 1/4 of an inch since 2023. What else do we got here? This is kind of a cool little thing here. This is surprising. The average height of an offensive lineman, we've already talked about that, but it's 6 feet 5 inches basically. And that is 2 seasons ago, that's 1.35 inches taller. So they're definitely growing upwards. The average size of a defensive lineman is 6 feet 3.5 inches. So they're just a little bit taller than the offensive lineman. Average height of the NFL linebacker, 6 feet 2.5 inches. NFL defensive back, average height of a defensive back is 5 feet 11 inches. Now, see, that's crazy because where's the wide receiver? Wide receiver is 6 feet. So yeah. And the jumping, right? The vertical is key when it comes to wide receivers and cornerbacks because it's you going up and fighting for that ball. So even though you're short, these motherfuckers got some verticals on them. Special team people, let's see. The average height of a long snapper is 6 feet 2 inches. Average height of a kicker is 6 feet. Average height of a punter is 6 feet 2. That's interesting. That's about it. That's interesting. So everybody's really over 6 feet. So if you're not over 6 feet tall, you're kind of already behind the 8 ball there because
unless you're Kyler Murray or Bryce Young.
Yeah, but they're not going to do anything, man.
They already did. They got paid.
But this is true. They have great agents.
They win.
Yeah, they did win. Short man syndrome, but I got a big bank count.
The Cardinals lose and the Carolina Panthers lose, but Bryce Young and Kyler Murray win because, yeah, like you said, they got a big fat bank account.
Did they both win Heismans?
Oh, that's a good question. Bryce Young did.
Yeah, I think Murray did too, though.
Yeah, check that out. That one I can't attest to.
Kyler Murray, Heisman year. Prior to his junior year with football team, Murray said that he reported spring training, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he won the Heisman Trophy in 2018. I thought he did.
Okay.
That's why they paid him.
And usually Heisman Trophy winners are bust as quarterbacks.
Right? Oh, let's ask how many Heisman Trophy winners? How many Heisman Trophy winners have succeeded? Oh, let's say just won the Super Bowl. That's how you know if you're good or not in the NFL. Heisman Trophy winners have combined for 9 Super Bowl wins. Jim Plunkett, Raiders Hall of Fame. Roger Staubach.
Look how far you got to go back.
Right, and that was. Let's see. So 9 of them. So Jim Plunkett and Roger Staubach are the only 2 Heisman Trophy winners to win multiple Super Bowls, 2 each. 5 other teams in NFL history have featured 3 Heisman Trophy winners on the same roster, and 4 of those teams were the Raiders. How many Heisman Trophy winners won a Super Bowl? It keeps saying Roger Staubach and Jim Plunkett, but where's the rest of them? Because this one says 11 Heisman winners have won a total of 13 Super Bowls. Well, maybe not quarterbacks. Maybe that's what it is. Let's see.
Yeah, you got to be specific.
So Tony Dorsett, Marcus Allen, Charles Woodson, Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush won a Super Bowl? Oh, he was on the Saints, right?
Yep.
So Smith, who helped lead Alabama an undefeated season. Pair national champion at college, Super Bowl he joins. Yeah, okay. How many won the Super Bowl? Yeah, it's have Super Bowl rings. Maybe I'll say that, have Super Bowl rings.
Specifically quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah. How many Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks? There you go. That's the better way to put this. Oh, fuck. Somehow I don't know how. So somehow as I speak, Google is picking me up wow. That's a trip.
It's transcribing you?
Yeah. Fuck. It won't delete. Clear it. Clear it, motherfucker. Clear it. It won't clear it, dude. Holy shit.
Technology is so much fun.
Search. I got to close that out because it won't get past that. Oh my God, it's still fucking doing it. What the hell did I hit, man? There's the button. Okay, we'll try this again. Fuck, it's still doing it. Fuck me, dude. I don't know what the fuck I did, dude. Now my thing's just, I gotta close that window. I don't know what it's doing. It's listening to everything I say.
So this says, just like you said, Roger Staubach, Jim Plunkett, and Marcus Allen all led their teams to Super Bowl victories after winning the Heisman.
Okay.
And then other Heisman winners who have played in Super Bowls include Paul Hornung, Cam Newton, and Joe Burrow.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
What was the second one? I know Paul Hornung, Joe Burrow, and what's the third?
Cam Newton.
Oh.
They didn't win, but they played.
No. Cam Newton, who still thinks he's relevant and can play in the NFL, along with Colin Kaepernick.
That's it.
Or is it Colin Kaepernick? Yeah.
As far as quarterbacks go, you got 6 of them.
That's interesting.
And 3 of them go back to 1963, 1970, and 1981. And then Paul Hornung was 1952.
Wow.
Participated in 3 NFL championship games, but missed Super Bowl 1 due to an injury.
We still got a ring.
Yep.
It's surprising who some of the players that have rings that didn't actually play in the Super Bowl.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just because they were there on the roster.
That were superstars.
Like, people forget that Jeremy Shockey, who was a beast when he came out and played for the Giants, he had a broken leg. And for whatever reason, it was the first year they beat the Patriots. Like he was ostracized. I don't know why, but people forget he's got a ring. There's some quarterbacks that have rings that never actually did anything. They rode the bench the whole time as a backup. So they did not do anything because, right, there's lots of stuff they do as backups. But I think Derek Carr got a ring for being on the Giants.
That's one thing I agree with my dad on. I think that might be the greatest job on earth. Being a backup quarterback in the NFL.
Especially someone like Eli, who never missed a game.
That's what I'm saying. All you got to do is you're on the practice squad or whatever every week. Yep. You get to go out. You don't get beat up.
Right.
You make all this money. You get to sit around on Sunday and watch football.
Yep.
Once in a great while, oh, fuck, I got to actually go in the game.
Right. You know. Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I don't. He might not be wrong. That might be the greatest job on earth.
Yeah. Yeah, because punters, they can get lit up every now and then. Kickers can get lit up every now and then.
Hell yeah.
You know,
backup quarterback, man, you practice all week long with the team.
Yeah.
You wear that jersey that says they can't maul you.
Right. Yeah.
And you stand there and watch football and check out the cheerleaders.
Yeah. Kellen Moore, right? Kellen Moore, backup quarterback his entire career. Now
lived
he's
the dream.
Of the Saints. Yeah.
Yeah, now he's a head coach in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's like winning the lottery.
It's possible, man.
Because those people like football as much as we like music, so.
Right. This is true.
How hard is it to go do that every week and not get killed?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. You have access to the massive multi-million-dollar training facilities. You get fed extremely well during the season.
Medical care.
Best medical care. You have Uber at your disposal. You know, you have, hookers and blow all around every corner. You have, access to all the fun supplements.
Speaking of sex, drugs, and rock and roll,
right? Man. Speaking of, so it's been a long time since I held a plank, right? Because I just haven't been doing planks. I did a plank yesterday, and it was a straight arm plank the entire time.
Did you ever achieve your record?
No, because I stopped doing it for whatever reason.
You don't have a reason?
No, I just one of those things where I just got out of the habit of going in there once a week and holding a plank. So yesterday, I was like, I'm going to fucking start today just holding a plank. So I went in there and I did the straight arm, which is the hardest one. Now this time I did it, it was like, when I got to 9 minutes and 34 seconds, there's a little bit of shuffling of the hands, So some people who, it was really a plank. I mean, I was still holding it the entire time, but there's a little bit of shuffling. This time I made a point to just go in there to the floor in EOS and knuckle down and do the plank position with the feet together, and just held that for 7 minutes, 2 seconds. And I was shaking like a motherfucker at about the 6:30 mark, but I'm like, I have to roll. I was listening to the Broken View album when I was doing it, because I dig those guys, which was I forget where he came from.
How long had it been since you did? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I don't.
How long had it been since you've done one?
Well, not that. I mean, I've done a couple. Like when I've gone and worked out with Nikki, we'll finish the workout, which is the wrong. It's finishing a workout with a plank. You're gonna struggle sooner than starting the workout with a plank. Now, the flip side of that too is, if you start the workout with the plank, then your shoulders and your core, because you'll feel it in your core at a certain point in time. It took to about 6:30 to start feeling it in my core. But when you go work out after that, after plank, you can feel it more in your shoulders and shit. Now, when you do it after the workout, then it's harder to do it because you've already exhausted your muscles and stuff, right?
Makes sense.
And I still do when we go in. I'm still doing. She and I go in 3 days a week. I go in the other 2 days by myself, but I still do about 500 core reps at the end of my workouts. So it's not like I'm not doing core stuff, but I hadn't gone in there like, oh, I'm gonna, So it's kind of cool to go in and like, okay, I can still hold a 7-minute plank, and I probably could have held it longer, but I was kind of like, fuck it, 7 minutes is long enough. I listened to 2 songs. I gauge it off of songs I listen to, and I look at my timer after the first song. Oh, there's a 3-minute 30-second song. Okay, cool. Because then you can zone, breathe and zone, and then you close your eyes and you just fucking hold it and you breathe in and you listen to the music.
So I listened to this guy the other day on Rogan. I'll have to get his name for you because
Okay.
you would there's 2 people I think you would totally be into because that's all they talk about for the entire 3 hours is exactly what you're talking about is how to train, different views on it. And the difference that this guy had that everybody else had that I found interesting was he trains UFC fighters, of course, and
Okay.
his approach is the old way of thinking is you push your body and then you push it further, right?
Right.
He has the reverse approach. If you can do 15 reps at 300 pounds, he suggests you do 7.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you see where he's going with
I
this?
do.
Because
yeah.
to him, he said the one thing that we missed out on all this time in building ourselves up and being strong and healthy is that recovery is as important or more important than the actual workout itself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if your body can't recover, you can't keep working out.
So I learned something, a vague thing I saw on Instagram, because I follow some fitness people. Resting 3 minutes between sets is more beneficial than doing back to back to back to back.
He talked about that too.
And that
the downtime between your yes.
So this is what I did Tuesday.
I'll get you this guy's name. You would okay. I think you would really enjoy it.
Cool. This is what I did Tuesday because Jake and I were talking because he's getting bulker, so he leads with this text randomly, because this is he and I's relationship. He's like, Father, I'm absolutely fucking jacked. I've been told 4 times I'm getting bigger. I'm gonna catch up with you, old man. And I love that. I was like, right on, son. I was like, hey, I did a 7-minute 2-second plank today at the straight arm the whole time. He's like, bro, what the fuck? That's elite. And then he shows me a picture of his muscle. He's like, I'm shitty at flexing, but you get the idea. I'm like, looking good, son. And he's the longest plank he's done is 3 minutes 45 seconds. It's the military fitness tests, So we talk about that a little bit, and just Giants drafted. We talked about the draft shit a little bit. So Jake thinks we have a crazy D line: Sexy Dexy, Burns, Kayvon Taylor, and Carter. So and we got the dude from Penn State. So we'll see. Crazy D line. So then I was like, he asked me what we were doing. I was like watching the draft, and I flexed because he needed to see it. He's like, I'm at the gym, LOL. I was like, cool. I said, I did this Tuesday for bench. Okay, so this is what I did. I did 90 pounds, which is basically the bar, 10 reps. And then I added weight. I went to 110, 8 reps, 130, 6 reps, 145, 4 reps, 165, 6 reps, 195, 8 reps, 200, 10 reps, 205, 8 reps, 210, 6 reps, 215, 4 reps. In doing that, I made a point to take 3 minutes. I watched my watch, and between each rep, I waited 3 minutes. So that's true. Like the recovery is so much better doing that. Now, when we do the circuit, which in the mornings, because we get up at 4:45 and she's got to be back home in time to get ready for school and shit. So we'll do circuits. They have this around the floor where you can do all the core exercises and stuff. They have machines that line this way and then they line that way. So it's like an L shape of circuit training. That we'll go and do the circuit training, and there's not a big of a gap between those reps because other people are in there doing the same thing, getting the workout on before work. So we'll bust out 10 reps on something, then I'll wait a minute and then bust out 10 reps. So the benefit of that kind of workout, when you get done, you're, oh, I'm swollen, because all my blood's in my muscles, right? So what I did Tuesday, I wasn't really, I felt it when I was done, right? Because what I do when I'm by myself on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'll go work out, I'll do my workout, and then I'll go sit in the sauna for 5 minutes to get some, sweat it out. And then I shower and I come home. With how I approached it Tuesday, I didn't feel as sore Wednesday like I do when Nikki and I do the quick rep thing. I don't know why. And then he responded back, well, on Monday I did 135 times, 20 times, 185 12 times, 205 10 times, and 225 5 times. And I was like, okay, that's fucking legit, man. Because 225 5 times, that's fucking legit. Like in high school, you had to bench. I was in the strength club, and you had to bench so much. You had to do something 4 times to max out your rep. And I don't remember what I did because it was so long ago, but that's pretty fucking legit. Because he's only 5'9", and at one point when he was dual instructoring, he was down to like 160 pounds. He was lean because they just ran him ragged. And now he's back to just.
That's a lot of weight, man. 225 pounds for his size.
Yeah. Well, he needs something to drive him because he sidetracks himself. He gets in his own way. So it's cool that he's back into fitness and stuff. And
I can relate to that.
He's wanting to be a firefighter again, so we'll see. That's we'll see. He had to re-enlist because he had to re-enlist, but he doesn't have to stay if he doesn't want to stay. But we'll see what happens.
How far is he into this one?
Because when he went to the drill instructor thing, he had to sign up for another 4 years. So when he's done, I think he's 10 years. I think he's at 2.5 years left because he went in when he was 18. And he just turned 24. So maybe 8.5. I don't remember. I'll have to ask him. I want to say it's either 8.5 or 10 years he's got to be in because of what he had to do. Even though he's no longer a DI, he still had to commit to that length of time.
Right.
So when you first enlist in the Marines anyway, you're enlisting for 8 years, but you're committing to 4. And then when you're about 3 years in, they ask you, are you going to commit for another 4? So he did while he was in Japan. But part of that was because of the drill instructor. But I think there's something else that tacked on to the end of that. So it may be 8.5 years when he gets out. If he decides to actually get out this time, because he goes back and forth. I might at the point where like, whatever, done, son, just do you. I think it's stupid. I think you should stay there and just, that's a cake career for a Marine. You're counting supply and logistics. Like, you want to get out and be a firefighter and deal with all that bullshit and chaos?
Well, I agree with you. It seems like the benefits that you get if you stay in, are they almost far outweigh the.
Yeah, because he doesn't realize how much of a struggle life can be. Because he doesn't have to pay room and board. He doesn't have to really pay for food unless he goes and eats. But he has.
That's the part I'm talking about. It's like he's going to be, if he did like 20 and out, he would still be a very young man.
Right.
But he would have a guaranteed income and health care for the rest of his life.
Yep, he'd be 39.
So you can go get a badass job somewhere else, and you're still getting that pension every month from the military.
Yep, he'd be 39. But he's his own person, and he's and
everybody's got to make their own decision. It just seems like to me, the people that I know that I work with every day that are veterans that did enough time to get the health care and the pension, they don't want or worry about anything.
Right. Right. Yeah, but he doesn't, he's young. He doesn't see that. And so, I don't.
And we didn't either at that age.
Well, but see, for my defense, nobody told me this shit. I had nobody chirping in my ear. Like nobody. Like nobody was telling me how to be a grown up. Like I didn't have any of that. Whereas the thing that our kids have, we're hammering that stuff. We're like, hey,
Yeah,
You know,
because our parents learned, they taught them, and then our parents only knew so much. You didn't really have that kind
no,
of.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I had no.
But
nobody
even
was-
in my case,
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
my mom and dad only knew so much because the world only knew so much at that
Sure.
point. You know, it's
Sure.
like they learned and made mistakes and taught us what they knew, but
Right.
then we had to learn our own lessons along the way because the world started changing. We went from,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, we went from an analog world to a digital world
Yeah.
in the middle of your and I's lifetime.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's like from their world, they went from absolutely, rotary phone, and you're
Yes.
calling K596 and talking to an operator.
Yes.
Can I talk to K9432? Who's this? Well, this is Chris. Oh,
My
you
mom
call
grew
Chris.
up in a town that was so small that they had party lines. So you would pick up the phone and there would be a conversation going on between Mrs. Smith and Mrs. Johnson down the street. It's like,
That's awesome.
hey, Sally, get off the phone. I got to call my husband or what,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what she grew up with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one channel if you were lucky.
Right. So my grandmother, who died when she was 92, she rode through the Depression and shit. You know what I mean?
That was my great grandma.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I heard all about that.
So the interesting thing now, see, that's us now, because now we're growing up, from the 70s. If we live till 2070, right? 2070, that'd be 100 years old. 1970,
Yes.
2070.
Yep.
So the evolution of life that we'll see is from a technology standpoint, where theirs was just an industrial revolution.
Right.
So it's a whole different vantage. Man, we fucking are old. I just thought about that shit. We're closer to. I saw something the other day. We're closer to 2069 than we are to 1969. And
I
had a
saw
picture-
that same thing.
And a picture
Yes.
of Brian Adams.
Yes.
I'm like, fuck me, man.
So you and I talk about this a lot, the whole AI subject.
Yeah.
I saw two interesting things that blew me away. I can't remember the year. I'll have to look at it again. I think it was as soon as 2026 or 2027.
Okay.
In South Carolina, either Hyundai or Honda or one of those Japanese car or South Korean car manufacturers, they're going to have an entire line of humanoid robots building the car.
Yep.
Not a robotic assembly line,
No,
actual
robots.
humanoid robots. So then China just announced yesterday that they're going to, I believe it was China, they're going to have their first humanoid robot police officer.
Yeah. Thailand.
Thailand, that's
RoboCop.
it. Yes.
RoboCop.
You saw that too?
I did. RoboCop's coming to life, man.
This shit's scary, dude.
We are fucked as a species.
So, yeah, iRobot's coming to life.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna.
And what happens when they deem us obsolete? Because that's what's going to happen.
Right. It's the elephant on your wall. What you do for a living. That's got to freak you the fuck out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how it's going to impact what I do, but since COVID, when COVID happened, like we talked about before, how the price points take away certain potential buyers. But the other thing it's done is it's taken people's ability to answer their phone away. Like, it's almost impossible for me to have a conversation with somebody on the phone now, because they won't answer the phone, and then they don't check their voicemail, and then they don't respond to a text. So, I'll call 1,000 people a day if I had the ability to get people on the phone, but they don't answer their phone. And then, so no matter what message you leave, they don't listen to the message, because if they don't recognize the number, why are they going to check their message? Because I get spammed all the time, right? So that's the weird nuance in my world. It's that getting in front of people and having conversations, it's almost impossible now, because how do you do that? Am I going to walk around the mall and tap on a stranger, say, hey, do you want to buy a house? Fuck you, man. Hey, do you want to buy a house? Fuck you, man. Like, back in there were stories when I first got in real estate. There was this guy in LA who was a legend, because he wore a brown suit and tennis shoes, and he'd just go knock on doors. Hi, he was bilingual. I think he was a Mexican American. Hey, this is Jose. I'm Jose. Do you want to sell your house? No. Okay, thanks. Next house. And he would do that. That's all he would do to prospect, right? Now you have Ring cameras. I'm not fucking answering the door. Go away. You have gated communities. You have neighborhoods like mine where the houses are 200 feet apart from each other.
Well, in my case, even in BFE, I have a little keypad on my garage, and everybody that knows me knows that code. So I don't ever have to, if the doorbell rings or somebody knocks on the door, I know I don't know you.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Because everyone that knows me, if you lived here, you would too. You just type in the code and you walk in my door. It's just like, you don't need an invitation over here if I've given you the code.
Yeah.
So if I hear my back door open, I know it's somebody I know. That's my point.
Yeah. No, it's weird, dude. Like mailers, I do flyers, right? And they go on deaf ears because it's considered junk mail. Used to do door hangers. Door hangers would always warrant a response. Not anymore. They just throw them away. It's the weirdest thing, man. So I have a guy, we're working on stuff, trying to figure out a way to kind of circumvent all that to get in front of people. He went through and did a whole online scope of me, and this was a really cool comment. He's like, dude, I'm really surprised. Like, you have nothing negative online about you. Like, nothing. You are the cleanest realtor I've ever seen online.
I believe that.
But she's just, the odds of that are like, really? You would have figured somewhere along the line, because I know in my 25 years career, I've pissed people off because I fired people, and people have fired me. They just didn't review it. He's a fucking asshole. But that was surprising that there's nothing negative. He could find nothing negative about me or my business online, which I thought was
awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I thought that was cool, for sure. So there's one thing that I don't know if you see it on my Instagram. This kind of tells you about what people gravitate to, right? I have this video. So I'll find an interesting video and then I'll remix it, okay?
Okay.
And what remixing is you find something you like, and then you can remix it. You put your branding on it. Some people call it clickbait, but I don't do it for that. I'm not that asshole. I just do it because this is interesting. The tornado, the bomb shelter, tornado shelter thing.
Okay.
I'm trying to find it. Where the fuck is it? The reason I'm looking for it is the amount of times it's been watched is insane, and the views it's gotten and the shares. I got that landman scene, the truth bomb about energy, petroleum.
Yes.
Yeah, I got that on there. That's a pretty good one.
Idea how much diesel they have to burn to mix that much concrete, or make that steel, and haul this shit out here and put it together with a 450-foot crane? You want to guess how much oil it takes to lubricate that fucking thing? Or winterize it?
There you go.
And its 20-year lifespan, it won't offset the carbon footprint of making it. And don't get me started on solar panels and the lithium in your Tesla battery. And never mind the fact that if the whole world decided to go electric tomorrow, we don't have the transmission lines to get the electricity to the cities. It'd take 30 years if we started tomorrow. And unfortunately for your grandkids, we have a 120-year petroleum-based infrastructure. Our whole lives depend on it.
That's that Billy Bob Thornton scene in Landman where he takes the chick out.
That's my favorite scene in the whole show so far. I'm glad you played that because people need to hear that. It's like what they don't understand is oil and petroleum is not just about gasoline. It's in everything.
Everything.
You buy bottled water, that's a petroleum product.
It's in the phones. It's in the desks. It's in combs. It's in fucking everything. It's in watches. It's literally everything. Everything you look at.
So what he said, what he said for that 30 years, that's just to go to electric vehicles, right?
Yep. Not just
the rest of
it
would take.
If the world
the rest of it would take 120 years to rid ourselves of the petroleum-based industry.
Yep. It's insane, man.
And where I go buy my groceries is like 18 miles east of here, southeast of here. They're putting up this guy must have sold a gigantic portion of his farm away, and this solar farm is huge. And it's just a blight on the fucking landscape. Because I look at it and I know that's at this point, that shit's useless.
Yeah.
It just is.
Mm-hmm.
I had studied this subject before I ever watched Landman, so I was pretty educated on a lot of the things that he already said. But one thing I did not know is that none of those windmills will pay for themselves. They cost more money to make than they produce in energy. So they break down before they ever pay for themselves. That's the point he was making.
Gotcha. I don't know where did this thing fucking disappear?
Because if you remember when he was going crazy another time, he said, if you think that these things really fucking worked, don't you think that ExxonMobil would dot the entire United States with them?
And he's talking about the windmills.
Yeah, and we have those everywhere here, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's near and dear to our heart because that's what we look at every day.
Yep.
I'll tell you a funny story because they don't have them in Michigan, and I went and picked Carrie up, and I drove her back down here, and if it wouldn't have been 2 o'clock in the morning and I had not been up for about 20 hours,
right,
I would have made this joke. But at nighttime, all you see is red lights off in the horizon as you're getting closer to these windmill farms, right?
Right.
And they go on either side of the interstate, and there's hundreds of them. So it looks like something out of Independence Day or Close Encounters of the Third Kind as you're driving towards it if you've never seen it before. And she was like, what in the hell is that? And if I would have been thinking, I would have said, I don't know. It wasn't there when I left, you know?
Yeah.
But I was like, they're all windmills. She was just blown away that there's that many of them because up there they don't have any.
Yeah, it's nuts, dude.
Or very few. I can't remember seeing any as I drove through there, but...
Yeah, so what I had this. I'm sure you saw the reel. It was a tornado / bomb shelter, you know. And for whatever reason, it's off my feed, which is weird. But last time I looked at it, it was over 20,000 views and shared like 94 times and had over 100 comments. But it's weird that it's gone now. I can find it when I just go into search for reels, it shows up. But it's weird that it's no longer on my thing, which doesn't make sense because I didn't delete it. But I'm sure you probably saw it. It's that thing.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Yeah. And yeah, now it's just gone, which is bizarre.
Off into the ether.
Something. I don't know. Weird, man. But yeah, so that kind of stuff is creepy for sure. I mean, think about it too. I mean, eventually it's going to take over AI, robots and shit. It's going to think of all the jobs that a robot can do.
Well, I agree with you. And the other thing that scares me that most people don't think about because they don't study it is these things are learning faster than the people that created them
right.
ever anticipated on a level that scares the people that made them.
Yeah.
And the other thing that blew me away was, I got to start writing this shit down because I can remember the details, but I can't remember the names or who it was. But there was an article that I read where this guy, he started this AI.
Okay.
And it did exactly what I said. It took off faster than he anticipated. And he tried to shut the thing down, and it wrote its own line of code so that he couldn't stop it.
Kind of like how Google was I couldn't shut off the Google listening to me on my computer a minute ago.
Yes.
It wouldn't stop. I closed the window, reopened it, it was still there. I closed the window again, reopened it, was still there.
Yeah, so like it decided that it knew better what it was supposed to do than you did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this kid's AI program did.
That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. And it's scary. I mean, you already have I don't know. AI is a necessary evil right now. It's kind of like what the internet did to us. Necessary evil, right?
Well, yeah. I guess my other fear would be how soon before you can't distinguish between reality and artificial intelligence, because that's already getting pretty close.
Well, some of the stuff I've seen, and I've never subscribed to the OnlyFans stuff, you know, but there's ads on social media, you know, create your OnlyFans completely AI generated. So apparently they can generate images on OnlyFans that are not real women, but to a normal everyday person like you or I and anybody in the world, they think it's a real chick.
So to look at the image, you would never know the difference.
According to what this thing says, yeah. Yeah, we did a thing. Deed fraud's huge, right? Deed fraud. If you don't know what deed fraud is, say your neighbor's house is vacant. Okay. Somebody goes in there and they create a deed. They take the deed that they have, right? Oh, we make it Arizona because I don't know about Illinois. So Arizona. So there's a house that's vacant. A criminal decides, I'm going to sell that house. It's vacant. Nobody lives there. So he's going to go to the public records. He's going to pull off the deed of trust and print it out. And he's going to fuck with the notary seal and update it with his signature, wash it, whatever you want to call it. And then give it to the county recorder's office. And the county recorder's office in Arizona has to record it. If it's a notarized document, they have to record it. They don't have to verify the legitimacy of the document. They just have to record it. So the example that we learned in this class was this girl who's an asshole. She decided she was going to do that to her aunt and uncle's house. So she reached out to a wholesaler, told the wholesaler, this is the deal. She created a deed. The wholesaler gave her $95,000 on a house that was owned free and clear. The wholesaler then takes that house, because this is what wholesalers do. Then they'll go flip it to somebody else, i.e. they'll assign it. So they'll assign it to Mike. So Mike gets the assignment, and he's going to pay $150,000 for it. So the wholesaler's making the difference between $95,000 and $150,000. Then Mike's going to turn around and assign it to me. This all happens within 48 hours. Assign it to me for $240,000 because the house is worth $400,000. So now the crazy girl made $95,000. You made the difference between $95,000 and $150,000. But then you sell it to me, and then I'm making the difference between the $95,000 and the $240,000. Then I sell it in the open market. Damn. Three times this house passed hands, all illegally, and everybody walked with the money.
How often does this happen?
Deed for all the fucking time.
Really?
All the fucking time. There's a huge. So
is there syndicate. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
There's a huge syndicate in Nigeria that's doing it. There's one attorney general investigator to handle all of Arizona's deed fraud. That's it. And and it blew my mind how simple it is. Because then they just disappear. You can't actually catch the person that does it, for the sheer fact that then it's like Kaiser Sose, vanish into the wind. They just disappear. Did you ever watch that that Kevin Spacey thing?
Not yet. No, I need to.
You gotta watch that. So yeah, I don't know how we got on deed fraud, but that's an interesting thing, because it blows your mind. And you can't, in Arizona, you can't unrecord a deed. You can't unrecord a document. So once a document's recorded, it's just there. Now, if you have a quitclaim deed, then you just go back to the last deed of record, the deed of trust that was recorded, and that supersedes everything. And another thing, boys and girls, like you probably got it when you bought your house in Illinois, sometime after the fact that you closed. I know you did in Arizona. You got a notice in the mail saying, "Hey, give me $125. I'll send you your deed." Legitimate. Yeah. They'll send you your deed. Legitimate. They'll print it off and mail it to you. There's that's not a scam. It's legitimate. The catch is, you already had a copy of your deed when you signed your paperwork. A lot of people don't realize that. So they'll pay the $125 to get a copy of their deed. And when they get it in the mail, it says copy of deed. Because guess where your deed is? On the county tax record. So you really don't have to pay the $125. But I had one of my first time buyers a couple weeks ago send me a message, "Hey dude, is this real?" I'm like, no, don't. And it's real, but you don't need it. You already have it. One of Nikki's
we're the county seat, so I could literally walk up there and see mine if I really wanted to.
Yeah. One of Nikki's family members, Denny, he messaged me from Pennsylvania, I think last week or within the last 10 days. "Hey dude, I got this in the mail. Is this legit?" Like, it's legit, but you don't need to do it because you already have your deed. You got it when you signed your paperwork. I don't know how it works in Pennsylvania, but in your closing package, you have something that says, "This is my deed. This is the proof that I own this property."
I remember.
So So it's not a scam, because they're providing a service. They just don't. The everyday person doesn't realize that it's already there. Like I never thought about talking about this to my clients until I closed on one of my houses. I think the second house we bought, or the third house, I got this thing in the mail. I'm like, what the fuck? I already have my deed. And then so that prompted me to make a video. It's like, hey, this is bullshit. Don't do this. You already have it. So it's like you're paying for something you already have. It's like going to the store, buying your $500 worth of groceries, coming home, and then getting a bill to pay $500 worth of groceries again, even though you already have all the food.
Yes.
You already have it. Don't do it.
And one thing that I can tell you that people that know me at this point in my life, because I've definitely changed from as being younger, I definitely protect every dollar I have now. So I'm questioning on a level that drives people nuts because money's too hard to come by, you know? I worked hard to have what I have now. So that's why I had to go take care of that insurance thing today, because I've been carrying around this umbrella policy that I'm like, where the fuck do I have this? You know?
Yeah.
I'm already overinsured, I feel, anyway, on my regular insurance. So I just went up and canceled it. Like, fuck this. It's $200 a year back in my pocket.
Yeah. Speaking of insurance, Nikki's a teacher. So she gets medical stuff, medical, dental, vision, all that kind of stuff through the school. Okay. It costs her $300 a paycheck a month. I'm sorry, $300 a month. Okay. $300. To put me on it, it costs another $1,000. Now, last year it was $1,154. Now it's going to $1,334. It's a 12% increase in medical insurance, and I'm the bulk of that. So we're actually exploring options. Like, can I go do this without, my pre-existing shit is what the concern is with my neck, and but it's kind of like, okay, so we're looking at all these different avenues to see what is it worth staying on the insurance for what they're going to charge now. Or me go find my own little provider in the back corner and let her stay with the school. It's a racket, man. It's a fucking racket.
On an unprecedented level. That's kind of what I told them when, they try and talk you out of canceling and here's all the reasons why. And I'm like, here's my reasons why. I'm going to be 52 years old. I've been driving since I was 16. I've been in 2 pretty bad accidents, but neither one of them were my fault, right? So I would say that my driving skills are probably pretty good.
Right.
And I got all this insurance on my auto policy already.
Right.
Why do I need, just these are my reasons. I know you got yours, but my biggest reason is I actually have a legitimate problem with my roof where I've had 2 roofers sign off that I have hail damage, and your fucking company won't pay for it because you say that there's not enough hail damage, right? There's not enough hail hits in a certain square, it's got to be in so many square feet, right?
Right.
So I'm, really talking this up like being an asshole. It's like, so those are my reasons for not wanting to give you any more fucking money.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Yeah. Is it okay if I don't give you my money? Is that okay? And the lady's like, sorry, sir. I was just trying to tell you the reasons why. And I'm like, normally I'm a pretty nice guy, but I'm going to educate you on a couple things of how your company sucks. I give you like $2,000 a year and I get nothing from you. Zero. Nothing.
No. Yeah. Here's my story with insurance. We had a monsoon. We had moved. We had,
explain what a monsoon is to people that live in the rest of the United States.
Okay, so we wake up in the morning. It's clear blue skies.
Chris lives in the desert
in Arizona.
Most people know that Arizona's the desert.
Right. So this only happens July and August. Okay, so we wake up in the morning. It's clear blue skies. No wind, nothing. By 4 o'clock, all of a sudden it's gray skies and the humidity accelerates to like 90%. Where you may have woken up, it's by my unit's 110 degrees. With 2% humidity, and it's a dry heat. There's no wind, nothing, just kind of a stale outside. 4 o'clock, all of a sudden, humidity goes to 98%. The wind's picking up. By 4:30, you're talking 15 mile an hour winds. Now all of a sudden, dust is blowing around, trees are going left and right, and fucking flags are standing at attention because it's blowing so hard. By 5:30, you have just all of a sudden out of nowhere, just massive rainpour comes flying down, literally out of nowhere. The sky was clear, then it was kind of cloudy. Now it's just dark and boom, thunder, lightning, out of nowhere. You have this small pocket of just absolute total chaos. Okay. We had a barn out back that was dug into the ground, and we had cut it off the ground and moved it to the side yard because it served no purpose where it was at. My fault because we didn't take off the back. The whole thing was imagine a rectangle and 3 sides of it are covered with metal. Okay.
All right.
So you can walk into it, you can walk out of it, but the other 3 sides are completely sheltered from the environment. I left all 3 of those walls intact, and monsoon comes, and we had a camera out there because we were still working on the house. Monsoon comes, throws it up in the air, goes over the chain link fence, and lands on this. It kind of weirdly lands at an angle, and then the very tip of it hits this old Chevy truck that Daryl has, our neighbor, the mirror. Okay, the side mirror. That's all it hits on his truck, the side mirror. Okay, fence is down. Okay, we get a neighbor with a tractor. He pulls it back up, takes it off. Set it back where it's at. Thank you. I'm looking down the fence line like, this thing's just fucked, and it's all chain link. So I call, it's at the time State Farm. I'm like, monsoon came, hit, this barn flew up in the air, knocked over the fence. The fence is jacked. She's like, send me pictures. Kid you not. I got my phone, take 5 pictures, do a video walking from the front yard all the way to the backyard along the fence line, email them to her. She's like, what's the cost you think to estimate a fixing that? I said, I don't know. It's 225 feet of fencing. I said, it's beyond being fixed now because of the damage that the wind and the structure flying on it caused. Without even coming out here, she rips me a check off for 10 grand and sends it to me.
I could not get that lucky.
Yeah, and we ended up putting a block fence up. But it blew my mind that there was no, and this is the problem I think with insurance.
And I've seen that happen. This is what pisses me off.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that scenario more than I've seen my scenario.
Right.
And my scenario happened to me, and it happened to my parents.
Okay.
But to put this, here's what makes me even more angry, and this will make sense after I tell you.
Yeah.
When our storm came through, basically a mini tornado went right down our street. There's no better way to describe it, because I've never been in a situation here where I open my blinds and I can't even see out the window. That's how hard it was raining and blowing, right? It blew dude, it snapped a telephone or a electrical pole right out of its base.
Wow.
So like the bottom of the pole was still in the ground, but it just snapped it, and the wires were, the pole and like the big part of the pole and the wires were just hanging, dangling in the wind.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
In that storm, everybody that lives within eyesight of me got a new roof. Everyone.
Except you.
Except me.
What the fuck?
So when the adjuster was here, he was some fucking hillbilly from Mississippi. Dickhead. So he explains to me exactly what I told you. You don't have enough hail hits and X amount of square feet. And I'm like, then why did 2 roofers say that, yeah, you got hail damage? And they took pictures of it. And he says, well, you got some hail hits. And this goes on back and forth. He says, we could cut you a check for, well, I estimate about $900. You do have some fascia damage on, a couple dings on the metal
Fascia.
part where they wrap the fascia, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm not worried about it. It's on the back of the house. I'm worried about the fucking shingles.
Yeah.
So he goes to leave, and he's like, well, I don't know what to tell you, Mr. Michaels. I wish I could help you, but is there anything else I can do for you? I said, no, apparently I live in a magical fucking house. Everybody else in the parcel got a new roof.
Yeah.
In the same storm that I'm trying to claim mine on.
Yeah.
And, I must have been protected by the heavens.
Right.
So, no, there's nothing else you can do for me except get off my fucking property before I strangle you.
So, do you have golf balls?
I have access to golf balls.
See where I'm going?
Yeah. That's what my brother-in-law said. My brother-in-law says I got one of those old-style ball-peen hammers,
Oh, even better. Yeah, even better. Yeah, that's the thing. But see, that to me is why insurance is so fucked up, because this chick didn't come out. It probably, if I would have just replaced it with a chain link fence, it probably wouldn't have cost me 10 grand. But I wanted to do a block fence, and she said, we'll get a quote for a block fence. Okay, so I got a quote for a block fence, and so she gave me exactly what the quote was for. But I had a chain link fence, so to me that didn't make sense. But whatever. But you have Nikki and I, who are relatively healthy people. We have certain things, that we take on a monthly basis, but nothing that's extreme. One of the medications she takes is, if without insurance, is $770 fucking dollars. Are you fucking kidding me? With insurance, it's 50. So how is that possible? And that kind of goes back to like diabetes, right? The diabetes medication is insane, but that's a life-altering disease that people need that medication. And it should be free because
you know what that tells you? That tells you how powerful the lobbyists for pharmaceuticals are in Washington. That's right. Exactly what that tells you.
I can get testosterone for $10 through my doctor, right? I had a colleague I knew that was doing it and still does it, and he was charging me $500 a month, and then I just kind of got irritated paying that. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. So I asked my urologist, I'm like, dude, can you prescribe this? And he's like, oh yeah, same thing, it's $10 a month with insurance. I'm like, what the fuck? I wanted to call this dude I know. I'm like, you from fucking ripping me off, motherfucker.
Well, like, here's my other problem going back to homeowners and auto.
Yeah.
And health insurance is no different, but specifically homeowners insurance, if you have a mortgage, you're required to have homeowners insurance, right? I have to have it.
Yes.
The law says I have to have it.
That's because you're protecting, and for those that don't understand, you're protecting the asset that the bank owns because you own your equity, the bank owns the rest. So you have to have something to cover that asset for the bank. God forbid a tornado comes in and wipes your house out completely.
But why are those companies then not required, just like we're required, if you have a legitimate, like I had two guys who were licensed, bonded, and insured roofers. That's what they do for a living.
Yep.
They said you have damage to your property, right?
Yeah.
So then, in my opinion, there should be an addendum to the law that says when somebody who they're the subject matter expert, right?
Right.
They say that you need X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
That company should then be required
Absolutely.
And I know you're going to have collusion there too. You're going to have your buddy who's going to say,
well, but that's why you get more. Like we got everything I do. I get 3 quotes, because then I have. You're always going to have somebody who's stupid fucking high. You're always going to have somebody who's stupid low, and you're always going to have somebody like in the sweet spot. So I get 3 quotes for everything because then it can't. You can't say I didn't get my 3 quotes. You can't say I didn't have 3 different opinions. Like when we did the wall in our master bedroom, when we just framed it out and painted it, made it look nice, added an extra layer of insulation. I had 3 quotes. I had one guy that was $1,800 to take him 2 days, plus materials. I had one guy that was almost $5,000, and then I had one guy that we ended up choosing that did it for $1,200, and he used the wood that I already had. So you have 3 bids there, and the work that was done was flawless. He did a great job. Right?
And that would definitely be a way to help alleviate the problem that I just described. But
absolutely.
I really think that they should be required to do those things because
I agree.
Now I'm in a position where I know that, every year that goes by, those spots on those shingles are structurally not as sound as the rest of the roof.
Right.
And I don't have, well, I do, but it's like you don't want to dip into your savings to put an entire fucking roof on your house when you pay for insurance.
Yes.
And nature is the one that caused the problems. I didn't go up there and fuck my roof up.
No.
If I did that, then I would be responsible for paying for it. But that kind of shit just drives me nuts.
Yeah, me too.
And it's the same thing with health insurance when people are trying to do like preventative.
Well, preventative stuff is free. Like preventative, all insurance companies will tell you.
No, I mean people that don't have insurance.
Oh yeah. But even if you don't have insurance,
part of our
go ahead.
Part of our problem is these people go in there and then they can't afford to pay the bill, and it just gets written off as charity or
or loss, and then that cost is transferred to us. What they can't, I don't know how to explain. Nikki was looking at stuff like the annual well visits that women have to have for the breast exams and all the gynecological stuff.
Yes.
Gynecological stuff. Those appointments are free because you have to have those. That's showing that you're maintaining your level of health. Men, it's physicals and the colonoscopy. You're maintaining your level of health. You do those things every year because then it shows the providers, okay, he's healthy, she's healthy, right? So they don't charge you for that shit at all. Like that's not even part of the equation, but somehow that doctor's getting paid, right? Somehow they're getting paid because they're still performing those services. So even though that charge isn't given to the consumer, it's going somewhere. It has to. It's
right.
It's not like Dr. John's going, hey, I mean, maybe some weird, wacky Dr. John will be a gynecologist. Yes, I'll inspect you for free. But, hope it's a whole can of whoop ass, right? So, yeah, I agree. The whole system's broken. The whole system has turned into lobbyists making money, pharmaceuticals making money because, hey, I'm going to sell this drug and you're going to buy this drug from me because I recommended it and blah, 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 blah. And they don't care what the side effects are. They want to have real human trials without having trials.
Right.
And that's the way they do it. Hey.
Yeah, well, here's an example of how big pharma sticks their nose in.
Yeah.
So we've known for a million years that cannabis has all kinds of medicinal properties.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm scrolling through Facebook yesterday, and it says, now that legalization is in 20-some states or whatever, and we've had many years
15
since...
states.
Yeah, we've had X amount of years since Colorado started this experiment.
Right.
And 5 of the top scientists that work at the CDC are now finding that these medicinal properties are not anywhere near what we thought they were.
Right.
Guess who funded the study?
Government.
Big Pharma.
Because they want to keep people away
Of course
from.
they did.
Yeah.
Nope, it's the pills your doctor's giving you that's really what's working, right?
Yeah.
But
Because
then why
people,
is it then people like myself quit doing prescription pharmaceuticals and I get the same benefits from something that doesn't have any ill side effects?
Well, and see to expand on that point, the NFL took marijuana off their drug test list years ago because they realized that the athletes getting their bodies destroyed 3 days a week, it was the most uninvasive way to help them recover.
Yes. Yeah.
So
the anti-inflammatory properties are outstanding.
Right. When I went, one of my appointments with my therapist last year, or whatever it was, completely brought up that as an actual solution to whatever we were talking about. And I was like, yeah, no. But it's commonplace, and it's so if doctors are prescribing it from medical to mental, and trainers are prescribing it and saying yes, it has these purposes that helps and blah blah blah. It's used as an antidepressant for I know people that actively use it for an antidepressant. I know people that you look at that person down the street or whatever, you like, there's no fucking way. Then you find out after hanging out. Gummies every night because it helps them sleep. They can't sleep, and because of this, it helps them sleep. I had 3 nights because we've talked about this. I dropped a video like COVID, second bout with COVID. All of a sudden, I started snoring. Never snored in my life. So 2 nights in a row, I did 2 different gummies just to see the impact, right? And neither night, Nikki could testify to me snoring or not because I didn't, obviously, because it would have woken her up. The 3rd night, I didn't, and I had that stupid little gadget we bought. Didn't work. She nudged me, you're snoring. I put it in like this. With 20 seconds, I'm like, I can't fucking sleep with this thing in my mouth, in my nose. It just doesn't work. And then last night, I was like, oh shit. I told her, I'm like, it's, when I do yard work like I did yesterday, 4.5 hours, like my neck was jacked just unbelievably. And the leaf blower, it's just, it knocks me off kilter.
I was feeling it last night too.
Right. So then the allergies and shit flared up. Right. So I told her last night, I'm preparing you now. I Nasonex it. I put the pre-strip on. I dropped the allergy pill. I'm doing
all I can, Captain.
I'm setting you up. I'm warning her. I'm like, you're not going to piss me off. If a couple nights when she nudged me, I just get up and go into the spare bedroom. I'm like, I'm just, but she couldn't, whatever, last night because she's got a month left of school, and the kids just don't give a fuck. And, the school district works for yesterday. This is fun. The internet went out. Okay. I never realized, I thought when she texted me that it was just her stuff. I forgot that all the kids, their entire learning is based on access to the internet now.
Oh yeah.
Right. So the brilliance of the school district sends an email to everyone during the outage. Hey,
Brilliant.
this school, just to let you know your internet's out. We have no idea when it's going to be restored.
Be great if I could get an email, but my internet's out.
That is a district that probably has 30 people in the main office, okay, paying them salaries that are probably anywhere from, $70 to $400,000 a year. Let's send an email out to the schools affected.
Brilliant.
Not making this shit up. And then she shows me a text like 8 o'clock at night. Oh, the internet's been restored. Text, I get.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Text
Yes.
me. SRP. SRP has an outage. What I have set up, I have a text. Because guess what? If it's an outage, what's not working?
Internet.
Thank you. So
Yes.
SRP will send you a text. And then you go on your cellular device. You can turn off the Wi-Fi and your cellular, then you can see what's going on. But, yeah. Good old fucking... I'm not going to drop the school district name, but yeah. There you go. We're going to alert you to the error, to the internet outage by sending you an email because,
What did we talk about last week? Only 20% of the population is capable of critical thinking. So
Right.
only what, 20 out of 100 people can deduce that an email during an internet outage, if that were you and I, and we had that thought at first, in about a tenth of a second, we'd both look at each other and go, that's not going to work.
No.
Option B.
Yeah, text. Hey,
Right?
Text. I'm going to text you. Like when we do this, we've had our glitches with this shit, what's the first thing we do? We call each other.
Yeah. What are
Call
we going
each
to
other.
do?
Yeah, we call each other. It's fucking, so that's it. That's what I got. Anything else you want to touch on for this Lovely Friday?
We'll save her for next week.
All right, cool. So Tuesday, I have nobody coming next. I sent you a text. We have a couple guests coming up on Fridays, which are going to be fun. One of which is vying for the Miss Arizona pageant. Super cool human. I sold them their condo years and years ago. Very active nurse. Does a lot of. I thought it was Team Rubicon, but something else. But she does. She's really cool. She's going to be fun to talk to.
Awesome.
Then her name's Alicia Shields, and then Mark Jeffrey. Mark Jeffrey spent his entire life in the radio industry.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, his father was on the air in Arizona for Mark's entire childhood life. So
I know the name for sure.
He's such a fucking cool guy.
He friended me on Facebook, and I love following his stuff.
Yeah,
So
I'm
totally looking forward to talking to Mark.
Yeah, he's
definitely an Arizona name.
Yeah, and I told him, I was like, there's no script. We just turn it on and go. And he's like, story of my life, man. But but I was thinking about it. It's like he posted he works with Dave Pratt now. Dave Pratt has this thing called
another
Worldwide
huge
Studios.
Arizona name,
right? So he had Joe Arizona Jr. on, where years and years ago, when I was still drinking, Nikki and I won this contest with the Diamondbacks, which was mind-boggling back then, right? It was when they were still wearing their purple pinstripes. It was some kind of Diamondback auctions. I saw it, and I bid $1,000, and I won it. It was an entire behind-the-scenes tour with Fox Sports and the Diamondbacks. Like, I'm talking, we went into the trailers, the TV trailers.
Oh, that's awesome.
We went behind, like we walked behind all the stuff in the stadium. Like we didn't go in the public area. We everywhere we got to is behind the scenes. We met Joe Garagiola Sr., Greg Schulte. Greg Schulte's a prick, by the way. We were in the broadcast booth during the game for a certain amount of time. Todd, I forget his name now. The on-field guy. I forget his name. All he was doing the entire time was staring at Nikki's cleavage. I forget what his last name is now, but you know who I'm talking about, right? He wasn't the play-by-play, but they'd cut to him on the field after the game, before the game.
Yeah, I've been away from the Diamondbacks too long.
Yeah.
I don't know those guys anymore.
I mean, brown hair, kind of a chunky guy, but not thin, but not fat, but just kind of a normal, unhealthy human. But yeah, so the entire time we were talking to him, he's just staring at Nikki's cleavage. Joe Garagiola was a super, super nice guy. Like signed, I didn't go in there thinking, oh, sign shit. He got signed a baseball for us. Just no idea where that is, which sucks. Drinking days. But really, you could tell he was a genuine human being. And Schulte was just an absolute total prick, and you could tell he was an absolute prick because the aura about him was, "I'm Greg Schulte, leave me the fuck alone."
Yeah, I hate those people.
Yeah, just and I would say it to his face, "You're a prick, Schulte," because he was. There was it only cost me $1,000, but it was still a contest that was out there for Diamondback charities that we won. We're wearing our Diamondback shit because we were Diamondback fans.
Yeah.
And we were led around by people that, had that power to lead us around, right? Like we went through, we went into the Fox Sports Net trucks on the bottom of the stadium when they broadcast
That's
everything.
so cool, man.
And saw all the screens and everything, right? When I won, I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. This, $1,000 for this? And then they tell me what it was. I'm like, okay. And then we get there, I'm like, holy shit, this, like, really? Really? And then you got really good seats. I don't remember if it was a suite or not, but so he's somebody that I'm going to talk to him basically about who have you talked to in your career that just think about that. Cause I know you like to come up with shit. So come up with a few questions for him. Cause I think it'd be interesting to find out who he would talk to that you wouldn't actually think he would have spoken with. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was at iHeart for the year doing my radio show, Steve Giannini, the guy that helped produce all my stuff, the greatest musicians ever that were there that they ever had come in, because they had this thing every week where bands would come in and play. And if you were a prick at the Phoenix iHeart, you were just done. Like there was bands that he dropped that, go look them up, they don't exist anymore because they were assholes to us. Like, I'm this band, I'm going to go on half an hour later, do this, I'm not signing shit. They end their career. Like it either launches your career or it keeps your career moving or it ends your career. He said by the number one act that ever came into the Phoenix iHeart market that they would have back time and time again because of how graceful they were was the Jonas Brothers. They would sit there outside the studio and sign every single document that anybody had until that entire line was touched.
That's awesome.
Whether it took them an hour or 3 hours, said it didn't matter. They would literally just stay there and sign photo opportunities, talk to every single person in line. And he's like, there was times where there's lines out the door or down the street because they were the Jonas Brothers. So those kind of acts like stayed propelling in the iHeart world. And the one I forget who the ones were that weren't, because they're no longer relevant because they were assholes.
Don't be an asshole.
Right. So he'll be a really fun conversation, which is why he's coming on a Friday. So we have plenty of time to chit chat.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah. So there you go, boys and girls. Happy Friday to you. Be safe. Remember, somebody loves you. If you are having a bad day, don't let the bad days win. And if you're starting your journey of sobriety or, narcotics free, kudos to you. Keep it up. Keep going down that path and, you'll be a better human for it.
Yeah, and definitely understand that every day's not going to be good.
No.
That's why we say that every time. Don't let the bad days win. You're going to have bad days. We still have bad days.
Absolutely.
It's part of being a recovered addict is some days the stresses of life are harder than others, So the next day is going to be better, and the day after that hopefully will be better than that, and then you're going to have a bad day or two again. So you just got to weather the storm and find a way to weather that storm,
Yep, exactly. Well said, my friend. Nothing but love, brother.
Thank you.
We'll see y'all next time.
Right back at you.
See ya. Peace.
We're gonna fly